Hey there. Welcome to the No Sugar Added podcast, where three friends keep it real and don't sugarcoat what's wrong with today's relationships and dating scene, with your hosts, Dan, J-Fabs, and Jean-Claude.
Welcome back, everyone, to another No Sugar Added podcast episode. I'm your host today, J-Fabs. I'm here again with Jean-Claude, Dan the Terminator, and our guest, Joana.
Welcome back for a second week. Yeah, we didn't change. We actually just stayed here the whole time.
I slept here.
Yeah. So today's topic, is it okay to discuss your long-term plans when you first meet someone? Or should you go the conventional route, allow things to naturally occur? But before we jump into today's topic, you can find us at Instagram at No Sugar Added Podcast. You could also find us on YouTube at the No Sugar Added Podcast or our website, nosugaradded.com. And you can listen to us on Spotify.
Nice. Yay, you got it.
Not bad, right? Not as good as
Save that for the future.
not as good as Dan, but you know.
Okay, so let's jump into this
topic.
topic.
Let's jump in it, right? I mean, like the you know.
Spit it out, bro.
I know, right? It's all a little tongue-tied. I'm trying to like which direction do I go, and it just kind of.
I don't know. You're the host. We're waiting for you, man. This is you.
So the whole thing, right? Like when you first meet someone, you know, I believe there's different principles when you first meet someone. A lot of people are eager, or they're very much they're going into it already knowing, right? Like, hey, I know what I want from this, and I need to be sure that when I first interact with this individual, I need to let them know so I'm not wasting time, right? Mm-hmm. But then I feel like there's also people too that are going to say, I want things to naturally occur, and let's see where things kind of go in a spontaneous manner, right? I mean, so what do you guys think on that?
I think it, like, from what you're saying, there's like, I think it's age range wise, like in our 30s, people who are dating in their 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, maybe even their late 30s, they have that sense of like social norms, like I need to have the white picket fence, the family and all that. So that pushes them to bring that up in conversation first.
Yeah.
In your 30s. But like when you're 17, you're not like, hey, so, you know, what kind of house do you want? You know, do you want a wraparound porch? Do you want a dog? Do you want kids? That's weird for like a 17-year-old to say that or bring that up. But, you know, when you're in your late 20s, your early 30s, that's definitely almost a conversation starter, I think. Yeah. For most first dates, maybe. I don't know, Dan, what do you think? Have you been, obviously you're the one who's going on dates. Have you ever...
Well, what do you see on dating profiles? Because like a lot of times that's on a dating profile. It'll be like looking for short term, looking for friends with benefits, looking for long term. Like, what do you see?
I usually have those filtered.
God.
Short term only, friends with benefits.
No, I usually have long term.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm getting to be old.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for something long term. Yo, 30.
30 is not old. You guys
32
can literally eat
is
shit.
in
It's
your
not
prime.
old.
I'm turning 33 soon.
cares?
Yo, prime.
It goes
Prime
up
is
from
25.
here.
No,
That's club life.
No,
That's
no,
yeah,
that's
no.
trying to figure your shit out.
That's an old way of thinking based on our like past generations where the life expectancy was like 45.
You
50
saw my
years
body
old.
in my 20s? That was prime life.
Oh my god.
let me throw something on there. Say, obviously, this is devil's advocate scenario here, but say, for instance, his life expectancy in his side of his family is only 35.
Oh my god.
Honey, you better.
You know what? No joke. That's when my dad died. I'll see you guys soon.
Oh,
my
shit.
God.
I
That
didn't
is
even
so
think
dark.
of that
I'll see you
on
guys
the-
later. All right, guys.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, if knowing some of those circumstances, right? Like there's sometimes certain genetic traits that we got to get moving. But if we know, you know, I think, yeah. So
I don't know. I think our 30s are better than our 20s because our 20s we're still stupid. Let's be real. Let's think about our early 20s, our mid 20s.
maturity level.
We're still stupid. Our 30s, we fully developed here, and now we have real money.
Yeah, what's stopping you from going clubbing right now? You got cash to throw around.
Too young of the crowd.
I
I guess the only
You're
good
only
thing
as
now.
old as
We
you make
saw that
yourself
in
look.
Austin.
Yeah,
We saw
there
that.
are lounges and clubs that cater to 30 plus only. never been to one. I have. I lied. When I was like 22, I've been to
Wrong
like a
age to go.
wrong age, but I was in that place and it was fucking lit.
No, well, when we went to Austin, that first place we went.
Oh my god!
On that main
I
road?
felt so out of place, man.
Are you familiar with Austin?
No.
So there's this like one strip that's really popular with the youths, and these kids.
All the clubs and bars are on that street, though.
Yeah,
You know.
these kids are like 21 to 25. We felt so
You got the same thing
out
in
of
Hoboken.
place.
You go to Hoboken, you go to any of those bars, you feel so out of place. It's
Yeah.
not a
Well,
place
there's
for
still,
30-year-olds.
there's a bit more of a crowd in Hoboken than there is in Boston. Because weren't we around the college area?
Yeah, we were in the
University
college
of Texas
but then
was around
Martin
there.
took us to that other place.
Yo, that other spots were lit. Those were
Yeah,
all adults.
Those were people all
Yeah.
our age. And
That was a
we
lit
felt
spot,
like one
yeah.
with the crowd. I mean, we were drunk as shit.
They even had a
and I don't
fucking
remember much.
slide.
Shit,
Yeah.
that's when you know you're having
Yeah,
fun.
that was fun. But before that strip, no.
Horrible.
Yeah, we were all in a corner because that's how.
Dude, I was like, what do I do? You know, I'm not gonna say names, but there were some people out there like,
I know that guy.
And it almost felt wrong looking at them because they were like, oh, these are children. Like, oh my god, please stop. It just felt weird. But yeah, there is that big age range gap.
Because right when you're in that young age range, you have time to make mistakes. You have time. You don't necessarily have to start asking people, right? Like,
Oh,
I need to know now what's going on with you, girl.
Yeah, like at 21, I wasn't thinking like, hey, so do you want a house? No, that wasn't
Well,
on
you
my.
also, this is like the 7th time you've said that. Long-term plans isn't always like, do you want a house? It's also like, you know, long-term, do you plan on staying in this state? Or do you have plans on moving? Like, what are your
Okay.
career goals?
Didn't think
like,
about that.
You know, there's more than just a house and kids.
Okay, well,
like, there's a bunch of shit that there is to talk about.
Okay, but I mean, the house and the kids, that's like the typical.
Well, in
Generic.
this time period, we ain't getting a house.
Yo, facts.
There won't even be a pool.
Yo,
Like,
New Jersey expensive out
Yo,
here.
facts. Juan, what were we talking about again?
Well, I guess like
Sorry.
just like the differences in a conversation you would have when you first meet someone who's rather young compared to someone who's a lot older. I guess what's the I mean, I know it kind of brought up Dan in his dating scenario. Like, you know, he's a little bit older, but he's not. You know, he shouldn't have to feel that rushed, but he should feel. You're right. Like when you're talking to someone, right, on a dating application, you're looking to know, like, you don't want to waste time, right? Like, you're gonna kind of.
well, I don't know. I feel like once I hit 35, that's it. Alone forever. There
No
matter who
is
that
no
is,
life after that.
No matter
Oh
who
my
it
God.
is.
Oh,
What if they're
yes.
like the worst person you've ever met in your entire life? They're like super shitty. That's it? Like, whoever you get at 35, like, that's your forever?
Yeah, or I'm just single forever.
Girls,
It's like,
listen, if you want a forever,
Well,
hit up this guy. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do.
I've also heard sometimes people discuss where, like, once you get to a certain age, you just stay with the next person that
Because comfortable.
comes in your direction.
That's called
Oh,
the
yeah.
taxi cab theory by Sex and the City.
Yeah, explain to our viewers.
It's very popular. So if you've ever watched Sex and the City, which obviously a lot of you haven't, it's a taxi cab theory
not.
where, like, you're with a guy for so long and he never proposes and he never does anything, and then the next you break up with him, the next person he's with, it just so happens that's the right person, and he's like, okay, this is the one, and he marries her. They could be together for 2 months, 2 years, whatever it is. The next one, his light is finally on. He's ready to go. It's just the mentality. Like, I'm ready to go.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't know there was an actual like name to
There's
it.
You think TikTok made the analogy?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, that movie, not Good Luck, Chuck.
I love that movie.
The one with Dane Cook, where every girl that he was with, like after they broke up with
Is that
him.
not Good Luck Chuck? I'm pretty sure that's... No, it's not.
No, Good Luck Chuck
No.
is something else.
Dane Cook's not in Good Luck Chuck.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's a movie with Dane Cook. He slept around a lot, and then every girl that dumped him, the next guy that they would date would immediately get married. And it was like everyone knew about it, so girls were just sleeping with him left and right,
They
just
could find their next...
just so they could find their next guy
person.
and like just get married.
And stay with that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I've heard of it.
yeah.
I think when you're young, there's no need to talk about that kind of stuff.
What's young? Like, what is... I guess,
Age
what's your
range.
age? Like, we don't need to talk about it. And, like, yeah, we can start talking about it. Because there are people who are together
25.
at, like, 24, 23, and they're like, this is it. This is forever.
Yeah, right.
I want to be with you forever.
Everyone knows someone, right, who has
I know a
gotten
shit ton of
married
people.
at like
Some of
21,
them aren't
23.
together anymore, but it is what it is.
But yeah, and who's to say that they didn't try and think of like, oh, let's go conventional route. Let's just my family might be of a certain ethnicity, your family's another ethnicity. Like, let's just stay together. Obviously, that's one scenario, right? And then let's just stay together and see what happens. And then how much time goes by, and then eventually they're like, whoa. I don't want to say wasted time, but a lot of time went by there, right? So
I would never say wasted. It was time learning.
Wow.
I know.
if you find the right person,
Aristotle, who?
so
I'm good at it.
So does your profile say long term on it? Or like, do you have like
On your dating profile.
No, thank you. I knew what she meant. I was just thinking in my head because I don't know. It's worded differently on certain apps.
what does it say?
I don't
It's
remember.
forever.
No. It's definitely whatever the long term option is the one I selected.
Have you ever found yourself talking to someone about like not maybe your long-term plans together, but like their long-term plans like for themselves / like their career / like what they think?
Yeah, of course. It's usually one of my topics I
So how
bring
does
up.
that go? Is it easy? Is it hard? Do people like unswipe?
No, it's more or less easy. It's nothing is really set in stone anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever their thought is, I plan on moving to this state. I plan on doing this for my career. Okay, I don't plan on leaving. This state, this Jersey. I plan on staying in my career field. That's okay. If that person and I work out, whatever. It is what it is. And then when we get to that road,
Gonna have to compromise.
we'll have to think about it.
So then a little bit.
It's kind of the same thing like how Brian and his current wife
That's
is.
true. That's how that worked out. They kind of just like got together and were like, "Okay, we're moving in together in Michigan."
Yeah, I'm sure he never would have thought that was gonna
Yeah,
happen.
hell
You
no.
know.
Right
Yeah.
there. That's still the love story to end all love stories.
I mean,
Yeah.
For what we know.
Iceland.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, Iceland. We'll find you someone there.
Maybe
Nice
we'll
accent.
Find her again. Imagine,
Oh.
like that girl is
Oh
just
my
there
God.
again.
Oh,
But
Wouldn't it be
she's,
so
she's,
shit?
she's engaged.
Oh, so what?
Who, April?
Well,
yeah,
she's
April.
If April, you listen. Imagine if she just sees me and she's like, "My
I
one
must
true
go
love."
back.
Yeah,
Wait, she really is engaged?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
engaged.
Why do you
Oh,
know
shit.
that?
Because we
'Cause
have
we're on
follow
Facebook
her on
friends and
Instagram.
Oh,
we're-
it's
Yeah.
been like 30 years.
No, it's been like 6. It's been 6. It has been 6.
I would have deleted you
No,
bitches
no,
a
it's
long
been
time
5
ago.
now.
No, she sent me something the other day asking how we were.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
She's just
interesting.
she's
Oh,
a friend.
wait a minute.
Just
Hold
a
on.
friend. Just a friend.
You
know?
mentioned before that we can get people on video calls.
Yeah.
Bring her up.
So what did you see in my guy in Belgium over here?
No, what you want to do? You want to bring up some photos from Belgium?
Oh, God.
No, just a particular one that Josh you love so much.
Oh, my
I mean, yo, it was
God.
because of her this whole podcast kind of started.
Interesting.
I mean, we were all.
Well, now you say that. Now we got to pay out royalties.
Yeah.
That's true. What'd you do? It's coming out of his pocket.
Yeah. Your shares.
They had a love story. It didn't work out. Bad timing. I think it was right person, bad timing.
Was it a love story, or was
story.
it a
The
stage
fuck?
5 clinger
Or
situation?
was it a cop blogger?
I'm not.
Well, you know what? Let's not put any evil on her name.
She's a good person.
yeah,
yeah,
no,
she
she
was
was
a
great.
person.
She was really cool.
We had some fun times.
Anyway.
It also made the trip, right? Like you meet someone in one part of the European country, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going there too."
Yeah, it was just weird, right?
Yeah,
like we were in Amsterdam,
A little too coincidental.
and then she ended up in Belgium. Like, oh, you're in Belgium too, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was cool. That was pretty cool, though.
She wanted your kidneys.
It made the trip. Made the trip. But
There are the two things below my waist. That doesn't
Probably
make
that
any sense.
God.
Infinite children. She just walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. Claudia cock blocked that. Anyways, let's go on to the next story.
Let's jump back on board here with the topic of, also the traditional route, right? There's people who, kind of like we were just saying, like they get together and they stay together and then they kind of ride things out. Is
Good or bad?
yeah, and I mean I'm sure there are scenarios where people they do end up together and everything just seems perfect about them, and then they end up having one boy, one girl, and a dog and a cat. You know, like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously those I might know of one, but I don't. I mostly only hear the stories of.
I think, yeah. Josh.
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a perfect example.
He is,
But he has a religious aspect to it.
Well,
Oh, I
no,
thought you
we
meant-
know Sam and Dave.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that you and me know Sam and
Yeah.
Dave. They don't
Yeah.
know.
There's no religious aspect there. They just like kind of got together.
I mean, I think I know Sam Dave from her.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know Sam. You know Sam and Dave too, because you used to come
Jim?
to our house with and
Yeah.
they used to do barbecues with them. But like now that they're married, they have a baby. They dated in their 20s, and then they got married, and it was what it was, white picket fence apartment in Bloomfield. That
Oh,
was-
okay. Yeah, so we all know the
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, with Josh, there's a religious aspect which then changes the whole conversation because I don't think that anyone who's religious who's listening, we don't mean no offense, or I mean no offense. I'm just using a stereotype. I feel like with religious people, they automatically already know what they want. You know, they're
I
kind
feel
of
like there is a set expectation for them.
yeah, like they're ingrained at a young age. Like you want a house, you want kids, you want a wife or husband, you want a dog, and you want to practice religion until the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's ingrained in kids early enough from religious households that when they meet another person who is most likely religious as well, they'll already automatically know
There's
like,
a click there because
Yeah,
that's what they have in
exactly.
like, yo, you were
That's
raised this
the-
way, I was raised this way. We already kind of know what we
Yeah.
want, so let's just make it happen.
They allow their faith, as they say,
Yeah.
to guide them
Yeah.
in that direction, and
Some
they're
of us are just blind, and we're just like, help.
yeah. So I mean, like that's one relationship that we've seen that kind of turns out like, oh wow, everything seems great, you know, and that was the traditional, I guess, the traditional route compared to maybe wanting to know so much information up front and not wasted time. Like, is it people that's different? Is it or is it in the technology that's available to us? Is that like we're so easy to use our phones and we can ask people so many things as quick as we can, you know?
So let's say you were single right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and you just went back into the dating game. Would you bring up topics like, hey, long-term ideas to whoever you're on a date with?
I mean, my first scenario would be the age I'm at, right? And then I would go back to also life expectancy within my genetics. And
my
maybe I'm
God.
weird, but that's just
Why do
something.
you guys believe your guys are gonna die early?
Oh, God, you just
I never said that. By the way, Joshy just threw me in that category.
that was an example. I didn't say you were gonna
When
die
I say
tomorrow.
get to the gym, because you're probably done in 3 years.
I mean, it's definitely something to think about, like if eventually like one of your parents has like multiple sclerosis, like, like that's kind of like a dead end. And then same thing with like dementia and Alzheimer's and like a bunch of other diseases.
Also, should you not disclose that to the
No, you
person?
100% should.
No, you do. 100%.
100%
Yeah,
should.
absolutely.
Well, on the first date, like,
No,
hey,
no, no.
I might
I
get
don't-
dementia.
I might
don't-
die.
No, not at first.
No.
But
I
like
think
eventually.
after a while, definitely, 100%.
Like after the third date, like, hey, I might have
Third
MS.
date.
if you start to date this person, then I think a conversation will have to eventually happen.
Yeah.
I think it's the right thing. The right thing is
To let them know?
Is to let them
Yeah,
know,
for
like, hey,
sure.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, you have to let them know, but when do you let them know?
yeah.
When things
One-
are getting more serious,
Or like
and
on your fourth
Yeah.
month of talking,
And
then
maybe.
once you
you know-
start talking about, go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
Claude will be that type of dude who knows he's gonna have dementia, but never says it. But they're always gonna tell you eventually. But I forgot.
I'm like, I know you love me, right? So you ain't gonna leave me.
That's true.
But,
I'm still waiting on my grandma to
but
find
to
out.
your question, right? Like,
Gotcha.
if I was to go back into that realm, right, back in that portal, I obviously with the age that I'm at, I would be a lot more eager to start moving on certain things, right? So, I would be a lot more. Obviously, the amount of time that you've spent with previous people, I feel like we're kind of like it's within us to kind of like, all right, either shorten the time span or like I want to kind of get to that part where we're like kind of cruising but still learning about each other, but I want to get to that part where I like this person enough and like I can comfortably spend a certain amount of time with this person and let's go from there. So I mean, I would ask questions. I would want to know things a little bit more in discussion, because right, every previous relationship that everyone's been in, everyone wants something better than what you previously had. So you want to
True.
take away the things that you've learned and have just that optimum relationship. Now that
Learn
you're
from your mistakes.
since you're given the opportunity to be back in the, back in the field, back in the water with all the other fishes, So
So hold on, I just thought of something. So okay, let's say you're single right now, and you go on a date, and you first day you guys start talking about long-term stuff. Obviously, when you're in your 20s, and if their long-term plans don't meet up with your long-term plans, you hope that you're together enough that maybe things will change and you guys will
Right.
compromise. Maybe it's a hope because you're young, you're still young. But what happens when you're in your 30s and you have long-term plans, and that on the first date you find out that their long-term plans have nothing to do with your long-term plans? Do you?
well, like here's like kind of one scenario, like with my girlfriend, like we discuss a lot, not a lot, but at least we've come to terms to discuss in terms of the property. Like I'm gonna buy the first household, she'll purchase a second household. We'll take advantage of our own FHA loans.
Rental units, baby.
Exactly. We'll take advantage, and we've come to that decision in terms of the long-term road and using those are assets, and we'll eventually, we have a decision on what we can do with those assets. But that's something that we've planned out looking towards long-term, and I think we've both agreed on it. Especially obviously the more that I send you enough videos on real estate to get to it's always in my mind, and she sees the valuable assets, especially have kids, right? You can put a kid within a property, you can, you have family, you want to look after your family, like you can see like how you can utilize an asset towards your family, and I think planning ahead, you kind of get to know that person a little bit, and it's financials, right? Like it's my money, it's her money. That's
important.
Yeah, like and those are open discussions, I think, right? I mean, is anyone against that? You should discuss with they should know how much finances
Finances are 100%. Like after a year, if you guys are starting to move in, that's when in fact I would want you to disclose not exactly how much you make, but like debt is huge.
Yeah.
So like I need to know like what am I working with here, especially if we're moving in with each other. Like I need to know what I'm working with to see whether or not it's worth, and sadly the investment. Like it's gonna be your debt's gonna be my debt's gonna be your debt. What do you bring to the table, and what do I bring to the table at the end of the day? Like that's super important for sure.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, I know a couple, nameless, that they were together for 7 years and living together, and they didn't talk finances. They didn't know each other's finances. No joint bank accounts. No nothing. Not a single thing. And it worked out for them now because like they broke up, so it was easy. But like it was just like the constant thing of like, well, where is this person's money going? Like I don't know anything about their income or like where it goes, but they never have money, and I'm always fronting them money, and I'm like, yeah, that should have been like the first thing you talked about when you moved in. Like if I didn't know where G's money was going, he was like spending it frivolously, I would be like, hello?
Responsibility.
Where is it going? Like, this is not how it works.
So how far in when you're first talking to someone do you get? I mean, I know you're out in the dating realm, right? And I know we always kind of use you as the jump start, but where would you feel comfortable talking about finances with a partner?
So we're gonna change the name of the podcast, No Sugar Added, featuring Dan's life.
Well, I mean, you're the only one we get to play around with.
Yeah.
Like the last time I was in the dating world was 3 years ago. Like I can give you examples then, but you're fresh.
Yeah.
You're in there, baby.
I never talked to a girl about their financials. I mean,
Well, I
we
feel
never
like-
made it far enough.
Yeah.
No.
So what is far enough? Like, you start seeing someone casually. At what point for you are you
If
like,
we
yeah?
plan on moving in, it has to be before that. So
That's
if there's even a thought, hey, do you think you want to kind of move in? That conversation should happen
Immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna look in her eyes and be like, look, the government took away $20K from my school loans. I'm good.
Yeah, you're chilling.
Yo, Papa Biden, let's go.
Because also, right, like the amount of weight. When I know in previous episodes we've talked about distribution of weight on partners, right? And knowing things and asking things up front, you can kind of gauge like, whoa, I'm about to move in with this chick, and like she has how much debt,
Yeah.
and when's it due? Like, you know what? I don't need that amount of
that's
weight.
something I learned early on in my life was debt.
Yeah.
And I fucked up tremendously, and I came way out of that. I am much better now because I learned, and I'm not gonna repeat it.
There you go.
Learning from the mistakes. So, back to that original scenario I brought up. If her long-term life plans don't match up with yours, are you cutting the date right there? Are you going to continue seeing her?
Well, it really depends on that life plan. If it involves moving to a different state, I don't think it's worth cutting. Because I might be willing to move maybe later down in the road, even though right now I say I'm not going to. But depending on how much I love this girl.
Well, I mean, this is the first date.
Well, yeah, but I don't think it's a reason to cut a date.
No?
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
I mean, continue having fun. And then when it gets too deep, that's when you have that same conversation. And you're like, hey, when we first started seeing each other, you said, I want to move and I want to change careers and I don't want kids. Like, has anything changed? Blah, 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 blah. And, like, that's one of the rough conversations because, like, it might lead to a breakup or it might lead to, like, you guys going to the next step. But, like, that's just something that you have to keep reevaluating.
Yeah,
it's not something that you, like, throw under the rug. You're like, okay, cool. Because people change all the fucking time.
It's true.
So, like, it's just natural to continue having that conversation.
Some people will hear that and they'll be like, oh, they'll go with it, and back in the head they hate the idea.
100%.
And they won't say it. But if a girl tells me straight up first date that she never plans on having kids, then I would cut it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my actually next segue is the conversation about having offspring with a partner.
Offspring.
When do you like having that discussion right in the beginning is, I mean, for some people that's critical. Like for some people it's
well, usually if you're on a dating profile, it's usually listed right then and there. Do you plan on having kids? Yes, maybe, don't. Yeah. Open to it.
I think it's also based on age. I go back to age because if you're in your 30s, that's gonna be like, I'm not a woman, but I'm just saying I see enough shows. I see enough shows that point out the typical stereotype of a mid 30-year-old woman who just got back in the dating world and she is desperate to have kids by that certain age.
Yeah,
it's a stereotype. It's a stereotype.
Yeah.
I know, but that's all I know.
Us bitches in our 30s, fuck them kids. Fuck them kids.
You want a ticking clock, girl?
There's no clock here, baby. Guess what? Babies can be made in glass bottles these days. Okay,
that's true.
I can have whatever baby I want, and they can be made in my hydro flask. I'm chilling, bro. I don't have to do shit. This is the life.
I thought for a minute I thought you were talking about a plant.
A child. Yeah. Listen, we can grow children anywhere, anytime. Is it expensive? For fucking sure. But no ticking time clock here. I can make it whenever. It's easy.
Yeah, there are a lot of women that don't have that necessary like I need to have kids thing, and there are some women that do.
That is definitely something, like, I know when I went on like, my first date with G, that was definitely something we talked about, just casually. It was just like, do your future plans include kids? And we had the same answer, like, 50-50. Like, I'm chilling. I don't know what 30 is going to bring. I don't know what, like, life changes I'm going to have. Am I going to get a better job? Am I going to get laid off? Am I going to randomly win the fucking lottery? So, like, that was something we definitely talked about, and, like, slowly as our relationship progressed, we keep talking about it. Because, like, we have friends who have babies, and it's like, did your mind change yet? Are you still on the same page? Like, are you still 50-50? Are you, like, 60-40? So, definitely something, in my opinion, in your late 20s to early 30s, it's something you have a conversation with immediately. Not like, all right, I have, like, all their baby names picked out, and, like, the rooms are decorated. It's just like, do you want kids? Like, it's as simple as that. Like, do you want kids? Because, like, if the person says no, you should not continue pursuing them if you want kids. That's just, like, a recipe for disaster.
But some people hope that they change their mind.
But that's fucked up because, like, you're never going to change your mind. No is no.
Look at
like,
John Cena and
Bella. Right?
Yeah, Bella. Yeah. She knows the story. I mean,
I don't.
She wanted kids and he didn't. And he was like gun-ho, like, I don't want kids. And she was like, oh, I can change you. And they were together for so long. They were engaged.
Yeah, they were engaged, man.
And they cut the cord.
Yep.
Because he's like, I don't want kids. Like, I just don't.
And then once they broke ties with one another, he was like, he went on, like, I don't know, on Today's Show, and he's like, I could see us having a family, like, out of the freaking blue, and he did it on television without like whether that was a jerk reaction to them not being together anymore and all the invested time he put into it, like who I assume that she came from the perspective of like, let me see
If I can change him.
Yeah.
let me see like if love can change, like, and plus, like, this is the, John Cena very well. I know you're a fan of WWE.
Oh, you made it sound like he knows him personally well. No. I was like, yo, what do you know, bro?
Sorry, no. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
We met him once.
What?
We met
Don't
him
talk
once.
about my
Oh, yeah?
poster in my
I think
room.
Joanna was there. You met him, right? TikTok?
Who?
John Cena?
I met him.
Yeah, didn't we, after Medieval Times, we went to TikTok?
No.
TikTok diner.
No, wasn't with you?
No, girl. Wrong
Damn.
person.
Oh, man, I don't remember who it was, though.
Damn, girl. Not me.
The story sounds familiar, but I know I wasn't there. I hate TikTok Diner.
Clifton, I think.
I knew
I
she was
gotta
gonna react.
Yeah, that's disrespectful, bro.
That's one of the best signers.
Disco fries are shit.
But he also he his personality when he was with her, I think he has the most Make-A-Wish,
Yeah.
right, wishes he's done, like by far. Like there's no one who comes close to him apparently. Like that's the type of personality that like she might have thought like, wow, look at this guy, like he's a
Oh, that she was attracted to.
like
He wants to help kids,
yeah,
so maybe one day he might change his mind.
exactly. So then she was going probably based off. Obviously, I can't speak for her because but from my view of looking at it from outside in, it seemed as if like she thought that, wow, this was the guy who was gonna like he'll change, like everything, all the other boxes here are lining up, like he'll want kids at some point.
Yeah.
It would be crazy for him to not think that, and look what ended up happening. I mean, it plays out in a way where the amount of years and time went, so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, when you're in your late 20s and 30s, and I don't know, maybe you're vibing with that person, yeah, definitely talk about those things. But when you're in your early 20s, I don't think there's a necessity to talk about it.
I feel like the early 20s is more for fun. It's definitely like, let's hang around, see what's going on. Once you get into your late 20s, early 30s, it's like, what's really going on? Like, we got to talk about it. I agree. It's definitely, I feel like it's more of an age thing than anything. But,
Yeah.
I mean, you also have those outliers, right? Where you have young 20-somethings who are like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Forever, ever. And they do it.
Yeah, and I feel like there's also people too, like there's a couple who might be together and you know what, they're fucking in love, or like they were in love like the minute they met, as some people say, right? And then she brings up, in her family, it's very hard to conceive a child, and like the difficulties that do arise from that, like does the male or does that partner decide like to abandon that love?
Damn, you shouldn't. Go adopt.
Some people just aren't.
Yeah,
into it.
some
I
people
guess.
want their own. Some people always have their own dream of being a father, or just having their own son. Like.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. In that situation, I'd be like, "Oh, compromise, bro. Just go adopt someone, or go get a cat." That works too.
True.
Yeah, go get a fat cat.
Yeah.
Never a cat.
No, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many scenarios, right? That
But I guess that's true. Some people, they don't want to budge on their long-term goal, and if in that situation the woman can't, or she has trouble conceiving, and the man wants nothing but his own biological child, I could see that getting complicated, and the guy being like, "Deuces."
Yeah, or does he give up one dream for the other? Maybe he had a dream like he just wanted to be in love, and his other dream was to have his own child, and you got to give up one for the other. Maybe sometimes, and obviously sometimes in this world, right? We've had a view of what we wanted, and we sometimes we just don't get it all, if that makes sense, or we compromise because it's
easier.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just say that in a way of like. Life is short,
Life is short. What are you talking about, bro? We're gonna live to like 100 probably.
I pray to
No,
God.
I'm checking
Well,
out
no.
65.
Apparently, Dan's out at 35.
God.
He's the one who
Damn.
said it, not me.
I didn't say he said it.
The T1000. This is old Arnold Schwarzenegger machinery here.
I know. I expect to live to 100 probably, but we'll see.
Who the fuck wants to live that long?
Remember Greg
Euthanize
Graham's?
me at 65.
Greg Graham's lived to
No,
116.
Fuck that.
So,
No. 65, euthanize me. Get me off this earth immediately. 100%. See, that's something G and I talked about, too. When do you want to die?
Whoa.
What the fuck?
I like
100%.
this.
100%. You know why? And it's gonna sound so cliche and so like conspiracy theory, but like the world is dying, you know? And it's just like that's another reason that like I don't want to bring kids into this world. It's just like, where are we gonna be in 30 years? You know, so like I pop out a kid within the next year. This kid in like 18, 20 years is gonna be an adult. And it's just like, I'm sorry for what I did to you, but the world is clearly dying. New Jersey is now absolutely fucking horrible and hot. And, like, you have to deal with that. And, like, you can't travel anymore because everything's fucking expensive. You can't get a regular job. And it's just, like, that is terrifying. So, as the years go by, I'm, like, less likely to have a child because the world is burning. 100%. But continuously
We'll be
a
on Mars by
conversation.
then. Don't worry about it.
I hope so.
No.
To the
No,
moon,
yeah, okay.
baby.
You have money for Mars? You have money? You have Mars money?
You got Tesla. And you got a
For my
Dogecoin.
kid, don't worry. I'll
Oh,
save. I'll
please.
start saving now.
No, we're all dying.
I'm moving out. I'm moving out of this place and live in a box on the street.
No,
I'm gonna start
good.
his move to Mars fund.
I thought it takes like 20 to 30. Doesn't it take like 20, 25 years to
Yeah,
get to
you'll
Mars?
be dead by then.
What?
Doesn't it
No,
take
it's not that long.
Or is
No,
it
it's
10?
18 months.
Okay,
18
you
18
won't be
months?
dead
18
by that
months.
time.
That's the shortest. That's only when Mars is closest to Earth. And then you have a 2-week window to shoot out a rocket.
And you better fucking go fast.
And you can only do
Go
that
fucking
twice
fast.
a year. So
How the fuck are we all gonna make it up there?
All I see is Claudio and like Interstellar like vibes, like Matthew McConaughey, get me there.
it's a tesseract. I
Yeah,
love
just
that
jump through
movie.
the wormhole, bro. You good?
Yeah.
Upside the
Oh,
black
facts,
hole.
yeah,
The black
just jump the
hole.
wormhole.
Don't leave me, Murph.
Yo, that's just a sad scene, bro.
Oh my god.
Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I've watched the movie. It's
Have
not
you
that
seen it
sad.
high?
No.
Yo, this shit is so sad.
Oh my
God.
god.
Yo, that's
I
almost a
wanna cry.
tearjerker. And then you hear the score, Hans Zimmer out here trying to make people cry.
Yo.
And it succeeded with me multiple times. Fucking guy.
That's a great movie, though.
Yo, I love that album. But regardless.
Regardless.
So you guys are in relationships.
8.
So like, at what point did you guys start talking to your partners about like long-term stuff?
Mm,
Kids,
Nice.
house, jobs.
I want to say maybe around year 3,
Goddamn.
4.
Nice.
Oh,
But how
God
old were you
damn.
though, right?
I would have packed my bag.
Yeah, add some context to that. You got what age were you
Oh,
guys?
that's true.
25,
Oh, okay.
26,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think. Some shit like that.
No.
When you started talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
think we might have talked about things even earlier on, but then again, we were just
It's just like you're floating ideas, kind
yeah,
of.
you know, we were in our like mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we weren't even like fully developed up here yet. We were just shooting things into the wind. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think for me, I was probably, 31? And probably, like, I want to say I was probably nearing in the 1 year mark where those discussions were already being had, like, because 1 year, right? Like, it's like, damn, almost about to be 1 year here.
Yeah.
Like, let's be sure we're all, everything, our stars are aligned here.
Yeah, I would expect that within the 1 year mark.
Yeah.
That people would start talking about something. Not all the topics, but at least
Yeah.
bring up one topic.
The relationship recap.
Basically.
Yeah. You got a yearly review. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about, you know, the things we haven't talked about.
Let's talk about the last quarter.
Yeah, I definitely think by the end of year 1, you should have at least talk about something.
Yeah.
You know, at least one long-term topic. One. Doesn't mean you have to do all of them, but at least
Yeah.
one.
You
And
know,
then
what do you-
maybe next year you talk about another one.
What do you guys think is the most important topic that needs to be discussed, in your opinion? Not like for everyone, but like
Yeah.
in your opinion.
Individual
for
opinion.
yourself. And that includes you.
Come back to me in a sec. Let me think.
Yeah. Most important topic. I would probably say, it's going to sound such a generic answer, but it covers it.
You still love me?
Family.
Okay, yeah, that's huge.
Because
It-
they're
it's-
already here.
Mm-hmm.
And like, where do you see, obviously that can spin off into so many other things. So I'll just say, like, family and location.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Like family, like as in like siblings, cousins,
involved.
moms,
Yeah,
dads.
like involvement, your personal involvement with your family and how that's going to play out with when you're in the relationship. Like I expect to always be a certain in the same state as my family.
Yeah.
Like I don't see myself leaving the state. So that's something that I think it's an important conversation because right there, your family's with you for however many years you're already alive, I assume, not everyone, right? Like they're a core to you, right? Like, and like, God forbid you lose a parent, your family, your siblings are there to always, you know, be your anchors in case, God forbid, anything. So you got it. For me, it's like you got to know how that relationship is going to be when you're with your partner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal your answer because that's actually a really good answer. And I thought about it. It's true.
Guy.
Yeah, family, like relatively close. I think I'd be willing to move no more than an hour away
reasonable.
from my central hub. No more than maybe an hour and 1 minute, but no more than that. But you know, having the accessibility to see my family when I want, maybe over the weekends, because obviously traveling an hour during the weekdays is a little tough with traffic. New Jersey traffic is horrendous. Don't ever move here because of that. But yeah, I like that answer.
Joanna's going to be like, I need you to be 2 hours away from me, please.
Be as far as you fucking can.
Wait, how far is Philly?
2 hours.
Yeah.
It's like 2 to 2.5 hours.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, maybe 2 hours.
Damn.
Yo, Philly cheesesteaks, bro. Shit, shit's
Oh my
delicious. And I
God.
love Philly. Great city.
Next.
I like Colo's answer.
You guys are so generic. It's so funny.
I mean, you prove a good point. What to call it? Before you even have your significant other, you have your family first.
Yeah.
They're the most important people to you, and then you have a significant other. And then
Mom
that
comes
person.
first.
Red flag. Ladies run. Ladies run.
What happened?
I said mom comes
Swipe left.
first.
Swipe left.
Yeah, I mean, mom's. I feel like my mom comes first. She's like the top tier, and then Joey and Gabe.
Red flags.
Well, here's another scenario for you, right? Say you're not close with your family. Say you're adopted and
Fuck them.
Say
Yo.
say you don't have
You
a
have
blood.
situations where like you get two people together who are like, yeah, so basically I don't talk to anyone in my family, and they're like, same. It's like, fuck them. You can do whatever you want.
Say their friends are like their is like their family.
Oh, okay, that kind of situation.
Yeah. So would you do that then rather than if you don't have your blood families that you grew
I
up
feel
with?
like with friends, it's a little bit easier. Even if I didn't have a family, it'd be easier to be like, okay, bye, I see you guys later. You guys can come visit whenever you want. You know, I'll come whenever. Would it be hard? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But like, I don't think it's. I could be wrong, and if someone is out there and has this situation happening to them, let us know. But I think leaving family that you're super close to is harder than like a friend group
Probably.
that would, you know, essentially be your family, but still.
True. Like if I moved to Tennessee of all places, just to the random state.
Random ass place.
I know, super random state. I would have a hard time because I moved away from my family.
Your village, that's what you.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
it's your village. I say it all the time.
That terminology, all the time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the village. It takes a village. You need your village.
It's hard to not have that support system anymore. And I agree. Like a few hours. Like don't get me wrong. My dream is to move to Maine, but it's still 5 to 6 hours. So in my opinion, that's still close. Like I can drive to New Jersey in 5 to 6 hours. I can. So like imagine living in California. That is totally different than moving a few states up or a few states down where it's drivable, or like the airplane ride is 1 hour. Like that's a fucking big deal, you know. Like when G and I were talking about it originally, he went through this like house buying craze in 2021. He's like, I need a house, and I was like, okay. We had just started dating. Like we were there for like a few months to a year at that point, and I wasn't ready to move, but he was like, I need one, and I was like, okay. And him and his parents were gun ho. They were like, nah, you guys gotta move out of New Jersey, and I was like, what, mate? What? I was like, I have my whole family over here. And they're like, you gotta leave them. And I'm like, what?
Damn.
I was like, are you serious? And they're like, it's good for you. And I'm like, it's good for who? And like, but that's just it though, right? Because they kind of grew up differently where like, G moved from like New Jersey to Florida to Pennsylvania.
A nomad.
Kind of like a nomad. And then like once they turned 18, they kind of just like flew the nest. And so like, G got a job, and then he moved to Virginia, and then he moved to DC, and then he moved to New Jersey, and he did whatever. So like, And then his parents retired and they moved to Mexico, and his sister still lives in Pennsylvania, so they've always just been so separated.
Yeah.
And like it's taken him a very long time to finally be like, I understand what you mean by like having your support system around you. And I'm like, it's difficult to like have to think I gotta pack my bags and like everyone I love is around me and I gotta leave them. And like I can't like for me it's just like, yes, I can drive 6 hours to you, but I was like, imagine we were in Texas. Now we gotta get on a plane 2-3 times a year, and it's like harder.
You could drive.
Girl,
Just
Dang.
long drive.
girl, I don't
Road
know.
trip.
That's no,
Road trip.
Hell no.
I mean,
Every
we
time.
did it for this guy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just get a Tesla and let it drive you.
No, I'm good. No, but like it's hard for sure. There's a lot of stuff to like think about. But that's also like something him and I spoke about when we first started seeing each other. Like on one of our dates, it was just like, okay, well, like what's like long-term goal, like move-wise? And we both said the same thing. We want to live in Montana, but like from there, yeah, it's nice, mate.
It's
and from-
expensive, Montana. I think.
Yeah, it is.
I
It's so
heard.
expensive. For being the middle of nowhere, it's super expensive. So that was always like our like thing, like, oh, we'll move to Montana, but never once did I think he was gonna be like, let's move to Texas, let's go to Florida. And I was like, God damn it, absolutely fucking any other state, bro, please, for the love of God. But then the thought of being away from everyone is just
Yeah.
not fun at all.
Yeah. FaceTime ain't the same if
No,
you
it's
can't.
God,
not.
If you can't share a room with them, you know. Like,
I remember recall during the early months of the pandemic. Remember when? What? I don't think I saw you guys for
That's a good while.
like 2 months, and we did that huge group chat
Yeah.
on Zoom. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I miss my homies, even though you guys lived like a quarter
Literally.
mile away. But I just haven't seen you guys because of all the lockdown shit. And then remember?
I mean, I didn't. I lived in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, I forgot
True.
you weren't here. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember most of it was because of you too. Like why we had to have the Zoom calls, and you and Brian, because you both lived out of
Yeah.
state, and Albert,
Alberto.
because y'all lived out of state. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, I guess, you know, we could probably wrap up the topic, right? And summarize some of the things that, you know, when you're first meeting someone.
Do you bring it up?
Do you bring
Yes.
up? Do you bring up those conversations?
I think so. So where I land is first date. If it's known, like you guys are both looking for something long term, I think it's an okay topic to have and be like, you know, just do you expect to have kids? Like, what's your career like? What does the movement look like? Do you ever want to move out of this state? I think those are natural. And then like as you go down, you know, 6 months, a year, you kind of just keep bringing those things up. Like, has anything changed? You know, what are your thoughts? Like, are you still there? And then, like, now you start moving in together. Now it gets deeper. It's like, okay, well, like, is marriage on the table? Are we
Yeah.
just going to be domestic partners? Like, what are your things? And I think marriage is still something also that you talk about within, like, the first few dates. So, like, the first few months. Because that's still important. Because some people don't want to get married.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I'm cool just being together. And you
True.
want to make sure that you have that connection. And also, don't go into it thinking, well, that's their answer. Like, I could change them. There is nothing more painful than waiting for someone to change.
There you
Because
go.
nine times
that's
out of
wise.
10, they're not going to. And if they ever do, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a lot of resentment. And, like, it just doesn't end well. So, like,
Wow.
those questions are okay. First dates for, like, a month, and then you just keep bringing them up as you go. Because, and then, even then, you know, like, after 3 or 4 years, shit changes all the time. I can go from, like, I don't want kids to, like, okay, maybe 1 is okay. You know? And,
Yeah.
like, what if my partner's not okay with that? And now we're 3 years in, we're living together, and it's just, like, he's gonna be like, I really don't want kids. And it's like, all right, well, then, nice knowing you. Take care. I'll
Yeah.
see you fucking later, you know?
Imagine breaking up with that easy, just like handshake looking.
No,
Thank
know,
you
Ricky-
so much for the experience.
thank you, chat, for creating my text for me. No, well, don't see. Yeah, I do. I do think it's important, so that's why I'm gonna have a Google Doc, a Google form, send
Oh my
to me and my
God.
partner every 3 months to reevaluate these questions, and then we'll discuss them after. We'll set a
it's
meeting.
really not a bad idea. It's really not. You should really sit down and like discuss these things.
John Cena had that. He had a contract written up, and yeah, Nikki Bella or one of the Bella, they had to sign it. Basically, like his terms and agreements on what he sees within the relationship, also finances and things like that. Like he was.
Well, I'm not thinking a contract, but I do think you should have like if you have questions that you want to bring up every few months, absolutely jot them down. And then, like, go into the other room and, like, write them down and then discuss them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, Gia and I talk
Open.
finances probably, like, every 6 months. Like, all, like
So a
consistently.
bi-yearly review.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
you have to. The whole point of a relationship is to communicate. If you're not communicating with each other and your thoughts and like these things don't align, it's going to be nasty. Like it just is. And what's the point of that? You know, like you're better off just letting someone go when like things don't match up than stringing them along or them stringing you along. Like it happens, but like just it's natural. You're adults. Like have the conversation.
True.
If you're adult enough to be in a relationship, then you're adult enough to be like, hey, so you're like $10,000 in debt. We're going to work on that. Like, we can work on it together. Like, we can put together a payment plan. Like, if that's not something you can have, like, in a conversation with your partner, should you really be in a relationship?
No, there's going to be some heavy hurdles on that one. And, I think, to summarize from hearing everyone talk, it seems as if, like, having those conversations is going to make your life a lot more easier, and it's anticipated, as you go along and try and find happiness.
Yeah. You know what? I say ease into them. Don't come out of the block with 20 questions deep. Okay, what do you want to name your children? How many children do you want? Where do you want to live? Do you want to wrap around porch? Do you want a pool? Do you want a car? Do you want a driveway? Do you want a dog? You're allergic to dogs? Do you want cats? You're allergic to cats? Fuck, bye. Ease into it.
For sure.
First date, ask 2 questions. Next date, maybe another 2 questions. Third date.
And also, like, that's how naturally some conversations come anyway, if you guys really are a match. So, eventually it'll come out, hopefully.
That's a good point.
It's not taken so hard. It's taken in the right format, It's interpreted in the right way.
It's organic.
I think
organic.
I think we're good. I think in closing,
Dan, you're a man of very few words this topic.
I think Dan's
I think it's more targeted towards the people already in relationships,
No,
well, no, it's targeted towards you as well because you're
to the best of my abilities.
You're in this range this age range that we just talked about. How in this
there's no point. I only have 3 years left.
And in closing,
you're in this age range where it's expected to you to ask these questions because you want to get your life settled, I guess you could say. Do you find that when you talk to these women on like Bumble or whatever, do they ask you these questions at all?
Oh, this podcast was over.
No, it's not. No. I just want to nitpick this just for a couple minutes.
Hours with
just
Dan.
For a couple minutes. Do they ask those questions? Do you ask those questions?
You already know the questions I asked. We talked about this many times in many different podcasts.
Okay, well, guess what? Things might have
Or
changed.
episodes.
We just talked about it, like how things change. People
You know
change.
how I always ask, eventually during our conversations that, do you have that 5-year plan? Like, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Do you want kids? Like, I ask all those questions, except the financial questions. I don't ask financial questions.
Now, do you find that you're the only one who's asking these questions, or have women come out to you and ask these questions first?
I've had a few ask.
Yeah? Like, what's the typical question that you see them ask you?
The more typical question is, where do you see yourself? And if, later down the road in life, like, do you want to stay in IT forever? Like, where do you want to live?
Money, baby.
Absolutely.
Money.
Oh yeah.
Facts.
Do any women like run when you start bringing up like the whole 5-year plan question?
No, not yet.
They're like, "Oh, a man with future plans? I like this." Okay.
I think that's actually a really good question to ask instead of like specific questions like, do you want kids? Do you want a house?
No,
like,
what's your 5-year plan?
Yeah, your 5-year plan. I
Laying
think
it
it's
all
a
out
very
there.
generalized answer. It allows people to just say what they want to say, instead of be like a very specific question like, do you want kids?
Do you want 5 children or 7?
God.
Pick
Damn,
one.
I'm good
Those
with
are the
like
only
one
2
or 2.
options.
Okay, I was curious. Okay, now you can end the episode if you want.
Well, yeah. In closing, thanks. Any other plugs we got going? Where we already plugged in the beginning.
I'll do this. I'll do the close. All right.
Joey, do you want
Yeah.
to plug anything? Any random businesses that you know?
Random business.
I do. If you're in the New Jersey area, in northern New Jersey, go to Erie Bakery in East Rutherford and Rabble Rise in Montclair and Paper Plane Co. in Montclair and give them all of your money because they make delicious food and coffee. Baked goods.
Like that.
Oh, and Jed's Breads on Saturdays at the Montclair farmer's market.
Jed's Breads.
Jed's Breads.
Jed's
You gotta
Breads.
go Jed's. Jed's.
Oh.
Jed's Breads.
Jed's Breads.
They got
All right.
fantastic focaccia.
Plug in the local businesses. I love it. I want discounts.
No.
You gotta tag them. You gotta tag them when the
That's
episode comes out.
true.
All right, that's good. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode that hosted by Joshy. Thank you, Joshy.
Thank you guys.
Of course, you can find us on all our social medias, Instagram at NoSugarAddedPodcast.com, our website at NoSugarAddedPodcast.com. Oh, I just realized I said .com on both of those. And our YouTube at the No Sugar Added Podcast, and on all your favorites audio platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, sounds
Hey,
good.
Thank you.
We'll be
Okay, have a good
planning
night.
Dan's funeral in the next episode, so stay tuned.
Thanks, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you would like to support, please follow us on your favorite podcast platform and leave a review. Visit us at NoSugarAddedPodcast.com for all the details.